And now it's time to take it over to Mark.
All right, thanks, Linda. Well, the college kids are all back on campus right now, and you know, it gets dark very early. We want to talk about security and keeping everybody safe, especially the women today. Mark Fox joins us. Mark is an instructor at the San Diego Police Academy, works with law enforcement agencies all over the county and all over the country, I assume. Yeah. And you were a police officer yourself. I
spent 25 years in law enforcement, both as an officer and as a trainer, teaching officers how to survive.
So this idea of self-defense, you and I were just talking, one of the first problems that we have is we do these demonstrations and people see them, but they don't take the hands-on classes to actually get the physical feel of how to defend themselves. That's a problem, isn't it?
It is. You know, we would like everybody. In fact, I think it could be compulsory in our schools for our young girls and young women. But a lot of people won't take those classes. So that's pretty much what we did is looked at how we could teach them video in a video learning environment, and maybe they could practice themselves and maybe drive them into taking a class.
Okay, and it's
hitselfdefense.com.
Hitselfdefense.com.
Right.
Okay, very good. Let's bring Tracy in here right now. Tracy, we don't have a microphone on Tracy, but Tracy, you're not going to need a microphone for this, okay? We're going to do just a couple little demonstrations here. First off, though, we want to let people know that you want to stay out of trouble in the first place.
Right.
So give them just a few reminders about how you stay out of trouble.
You know, awareness is the key. If you look like a victim, you're going to be a victim. This person's a predator, so he's looking for an easy target. So staying away from isolated areas, walking in groups whenever possible, no headphones on, so you're not going to hear somebody approaching, and no texting or listening to your iPod.
You see it all the time, headphones and texting at the same time.
Exactly.
So no awareness of your surroundings at all.
If you're in parking lots, staying away from cars, especially walking in between cars, maybe working along the lanes itself. Your head's up, it's on a swivel, you're looking for potential danger signs, and you're thinking, what if? What if somebody was to approach me right away? Where am I going to go? What are my avenues of escape? What am I willing to do to defend myself if I need to?
See, my family always laughs at me when I'm playing these what-if games. But I play these games with them all the time. I say, what if this happened? What if that happened? What would you do? What would you do? And then they watch the news and they don't make so much fun of me.
That's the cop thing in us. That's what we teach our officers, and that's what helped me survive when I was shot. You know, I immediately relied on my training, and I went back to what I had thought about, how I was going to react in that scenario.
Man. All right, Tracy, let's use you for a demonstration here. Typically, a guy you would think probably walks up behind the victim, unseen, and grabs him. There's a bear hug or something.
Anybody's approaching from the front, you want to create a survival space and not let them get close enough. You know, it's kind of like a kid playing a game of tag.
Right.
So a lot of these abductions happen from behind. You know, somebody charging them from out behind. If I attempt to abduct her, I'm going to come up and try to pick her up and lift her up. She's going to set her weight, and she's going to simply throw closest weapon to closest target. Throwing target seeking the head, the groin, the solar plexus, the eyes, the throat. It's all about really violence of action at that point in surviving.
And again, you don't have to apologize when you're a potential victim here for being violent, for trying to do as much damage as you can possibly do to your attacker, which means, hey, you go for the face.
Exactly. This person's a predator, and he's going to continue to attack unless he realizes he doesn't have the ability or the consequences are way too great.
What about screaming?
Screaming, I like the term yelling.
Okay.
But we want to yell, get away from me, leave me alone, help. You're drawing attention to you, and that brings other witnesses. Those are consequences. The predator sees that, he sees people coming into that area, he's going to flee to avoid apprehension.
You know, you'll hear sometimes in certain situations sexual assaults where you wake up and somebody's in the room. Well, there's a discussion about should you resist or should you cooperate in order to preserve your safety. There's no easy answer for that.
No, there isn't. It's the woman's choice in that scenario. But I can tell you, if she does not resist, the attack will occur in those cases. And there's a misperception that if people resist, they're likely to get hurt worse. And that's not the case. 87% of women who are sexually assaulted who fight back say it made the circumstance better.
Yeah, my sister was attacked inside of her home one time, and she can say definitively that fighting back probably saved her life.
Absolutely, and it's a lot simpler than a lot of people make it. It's weapons to targets, it's violence of action.
Well, if you happen to get down on the ground, okay, and Tracy, we're going to go ahead and put you in a very vulnerable position again, and we really appreciate you being willing to do this with us. Down on the ground, there's a sexual assault about to occur here, okay? She's in bad shape.
I've got to get close enough to make that attack. So she's going to put barriers, obstacles and barriers. In this case, her shin across my hip. And if I'm trying to drive forward, it's keeping from going. Her hands up, she's going to target seek. If I'm focused here, she's going for the eyes and face. She's going to use her legs to kick. And she's going to target seek again, creating distance to escape at the first opportunity. And like you mentioned, you got to be willing to put it on them.
And you have to practice these things. And, you know, you and I were talking about the fact that I went back through the police academy with a good friend of yours, Don Parch, who teaches down at Southwestern, teaches self-defense. You have to get down on the ground. You have to actually feel what the physical contact feels like, how much pressure it takes, and how much you actually have to exert yourself and be willing to go for here.
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the things we do on the video is to try to teach people how to work with a partner. And I'm telling you, as a woman, when you're working with a guy, you have to realize guys are guys. We're going to say, no, you can't do that to me. So you start slow and you gradually pick up the pace and the intensity and the stress level until you automatically react to it without thinking.
Mark, thank you so much.
Thank
Tracy,
you very much.
Thank you so much for coming in today. It's a pleasure to have you here. All right, we'll have more information at our website, sandiego6.com. We'll put you in touch with Mark and let you learn a whole lot more about self-defense. Please pursue this. And again, guys, thanks again for being here.